Hello, and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Hello, how are my lovelies, my royalty? Okay, yeah, get out some volcanic, hot, boiling, steaming, just, burn your tongue type of petty because yeah, this is kind of a political, religious episode and a little dating. Yeah, it's as messy as my life, so this is going to be a very messy episode after what had happened today. Yeah, because Don Lemon, someone who has been such an amazing speaker and journalist and someone who has not been scared to find and speak the truth, has been arrested. After that church protest, he was covering the story. And I think we need to look deeper into it. I hope that a journalist will do more research because the history of the church and racism, especially the white church and racism, like after church sermons back in the 50s and earlier, is like after a nice little sermon, they'd love to hang strange fruit and have a picnic and take pictures. There's so much racism within the white church. Sunday mornings is one of the most segregated times in America. And you have to remember how many of these white pastors, and I mean others too, but especially the white ones, they made sure to tell their congregation, if you don't vote Republican, don't you come back. Some of them told the members, don't come back if you vote Democrat, if you don't vote for who we want you to vote for. I've already told you about my church, and it's a black church, how our bishop would invite only the Republicans, people running for office, and he would quiz us and tell us who we were to vote for. And even the last 5 to 10 years, our bishop would have the outside sermon during COVID. He would say how the orange man is not racist and how dare we think he's racist and all different types of, and then with the second time, I mean there's other stuff with the first one, but especially the second time when his son, the pastor, he would have special episodes talking about you know who to vote for. When they took away like women's, right to choose, our pastors celebrated it and start putting Bible verses in it. It's like, what about if any of these pastors, members, female members, their life was at risk? I mean, they're just going to pray. They don't care. They're not going to fight for you. They're not going to go to your doctor and tell them, oh, no, no. It's like, please save her life. Like, she's willing to have another. She doesn't want to have this abortion, but it's like, yeah, they're not going to care. They say all lives matter. They mean white, able bodied, straight men. Because I'm hearing more and more about the Heritage Foundation. Don't worry, I'm getting back to Don Lemon, but we have to pay really attention to what the church is doing and how they're trying to trap women and force women into marriage, force women to having 3+ kids and staying married with men who are probably going to be no good to us, even having singles camps. I'm hearing so many horrifying, terrible things. But they don't care. Like, some men only think women are property. While dating, I'm finding, like, look at my, yeah, look at my Patreon. I have so much proof of how so many of these men only think of women as property, only think women are usable, but then turn around and say a woman is disgusting if she has a lot of partners. But if you if the woman's number count, but then a man doesn't see that. But so many men are concentrating so much on that, but at the same time, they expect a woman to sleep with them so quickly. Look at my Patreon if you don't believe me. And I have so many more. I have so many more pictures to upload, screenshots to upload, evidence to prove my case. And I'd even screenshot all of them because if I did that, my phone would be slower than a turtle. And it's just horrifying how it's like they were having a protest because they found out one of the, I believe his title was like regional director of ICE, is a pastor and a pastor of that church. So they had a protest. And it's crazy. Like all the people who went into the White House on January 6th, no issue. They parted, like, the orange man let them all out. But now, and then some people say they don't agree with the protests in the church, but we have the freedom of, like, but they do. Some understand the freedom of speech. Some understand the racism within the white church. Because I believe it's in Ohio. There's one church where they were able to figure out how to have no blacks allowed or whites only. It's one of the, I think it's the only whites only churches in the country where you cannot go to their church if you're not white. But it's like we need to look at the layers, but then also look at the layers of freedom of speech. Because after what happened with Jimmy Kimmel, yeah, they keep seeing how far they can go, how much they can take and steal from us, how much they can take advantage and how much they can use, how much they can bribe. Because these corporations, they bend at the knee because they care more about money than heartbeats. They care more about what they can own than human beings. It's like all money matters over all lives matter. They don't care about you. They care about how much richer, because they'd rather be on the top 10 of richest people list. Yes, they have so much money they don't know how to do it, but they don't care. They want to see how they can make it more. For what reason? Selfishness. But then what does it say in the Bible about being rich? But then look at a lot of these pastors. They want us to give tithes and offering, then tithes and offering, and then they want to say that's going to go tenfold and everything like that when it's going tenfold for them. But their private planes and everything, and they're traveling, and their beautiful suits and mansions and everything. Yeah, must be nice, right? Must be nice. And then them telling people in their congregation to write checks for very large amounts of money. Yeah. To having the nerve to say that the orange man is not a racist person. But look what's happening now. Because, see, this is why, yeah, I'm petty. I really want to know what my pastor and bishop think now. With everything going on right now, what do they think? I want to know. I really want to say the name of the church, but some people know. Some people know. But after that test last year, around Thanksgiving, about the baby formula, that gave you a hint right there. Love thy neighbor as long as you are a straight white male and a Republican and vote the way that they want you to vote. It's like they don't go by, like, these churches don't go based off the Bible. They go based off of their wallets, and what's going to benefit them and who they want to love and how they want the good book to be read. Because, okay, how many of these pastors have been caught um, dealing with little girls? Not young ladies, little girls. Yeah. Mm. I wonder how many of them are on the Epstein list. I do. I really. I hope they find that out. I hope that they let that information out. How many of these pastors have been caught cheating on their wives? Adultery. Yeah. How many of them have been caught on Tinder? Uh huh. Yeah. They want to put down the LGBTQ community while dot dot dot. And then Katrina, other small churches were doing their best trying to help people, but then you had a multi-millionaire, I think possibly might be a billionaire, like pastor, evangel, uh, bishop, evangelical leader. He wasn't going to open his church. He didn't want to get his carpets dirty. And probably other reasons too, but yeah, I kind of remember that part. And then one of his religious advisors, the Orange Man's religious advisor. Oh my gosh, do you know the history of her? I don't have it right in front of me, but briefly. Yeah, she's been married a couple or a few times, and she got caught with some kind of money like charges, and yeah, it's just amazing with how a lot of these like religious leaders, they say one thing, but when you look at their past, when you look at their lives and everything like that, and some of them it's not past either, or the past is right around the corner, right down the block. Because I mean, my pastor got a divorce, and like it's so funny. Some of the things him and his father used to preach about years ago. He didn't go by any of that. He did his own thing. And I've mentioned how when he talks about relationships and women, oh the what like you can tell how you're like, oh, he keeps talking about this. Is this a hint? Is this a hint why him and his first wife got divorced? Oh, but he got that second wife real quick. Mm, I wonder. I don't wonder why. I kind of know why, but yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting because yeah, a lot of the advice they preached on years ago, they didn't follow any of that. And also with a lot of what the Heritage Foundation is doing and trying to promote, my bishop's daughters would possibly have been fined that. Like, yeah, they didn't go by that. Yeah, age wise, the age part. Yeah. It's like so many of these men think that women are just supposed to pick a guy and just stay with him, stay dedicated and faithful to him. When when you're young, you don't know yourself. Especially your parents try to tell you who you're supposed to be. My parents tried to tell me who I was going to be. Even with my degree and my major, they tried to tell me who I had to be, or they were going to kick me out. They scared me. I was in fear. And a lot of times they would tell me, I'm just telling you what God would want me to tell you. I'm forcing this on you because the good book wants this. This, like, Jesus wants me to preach to you and tell you how to live a Christian life. Like, even wanting to major in computers. Oh, if you remember that episode, if you remember what yeah, yeah. It's like, and then I want to be an author. No, you're going to get kicked out if you want to do that. So yeah, it's like when it comes to religion, it's like they try to especially mold what a woman is supposed to be able to do and be. And now they're trying to stop women from being able to do and be. because they just want us to make more babies. Not specifically black women, because yeah, they want us to slow down. They want the colonized type of women. Yeah. So, but one thing I've noticed with the dating apps is that a lot of Democrat men don't want kids. So, I guess the colonizers get to celebrate that because a lot of Democrat men don't want kids. And I think that's another reason why there are so many single Democrat women, because some Democrat women don't want kids, but some do. But then so many Democrat men don't want kids. But then a lot of the men who do want kids are the ones who vote for MAGA and the Orange Man and say that there's no racism, or that ICE is doing their job, or that this is what immigrants get, or that there's reverse racism and all of that nonsense. But back to like with Don Lemon, he was doing his job and showing the truth within the church, showing the layers of the church, like the racism that's in the church. I mean, this pastor might say he's not racist, but while he's saying he's not racist, he's doing racist things. He's promoting racist actions. Like a lot of people are like, do as I say, not as I do. But then we have a church leader preaching to his congregation. What is he preaching? If he's the regional director, that is such a high position. It sounds like it, yeah. That sounds like a lot of responsibility while handcuffing and taking little kids out of where, like, yeah. So I'm just, I'm just at a loss for words because you have the nerve to arrest Don Lemon, someone who will show the truth. He did nothing wrong. He found out about the protest and wanted to go in and investigate something that we should know about that protest. We should know the why. We should know about this pastor. We should know about his position, especially because of the history of the white church and even the church's history of using slavery in order to build this country. They used it to build this country, and it's like when they say they want to make America great, like, yeah, like pay attention because the Orange Man said late 2024, right before, like at least two times, that the Hispanic community were taking black jobs. But then he refused to say what the black jobs were, but we all know what he thought the black jobs were. And that's another reason why what they're doing with student loans and degrees and like, yeah, they're doing this all for a reason. They are doing all of this for a reason to women and black people and people of color. But a lot of you guys are not going to pay attention or you're going to ignore it because it's not you. It's not going to affect you. And this is another reason why a lot of us don't trust the colonizing women, because a lot of the colonizing women will do anything that the colonizing man does because that equals power. And they love the power more than they love other human beings. When we had Black Lives Matter, they were just like, no, all lives matter. And then they try to say we were racist when we had Black Lives Matter because of the racism that is layered within the police and the history of the police and the hatred for black people within the police, how they target us and they want us in their prisons in order to make them money in two different ways. So they can dehumanize us because they only think of us as three-fifths human still, but they're not allowed to act like it. So we have Don Lemon doing his job, doing such an amazing thing, but now they arrested him and put him in that system. But he is such a brilliant and amazing man. And oh yeah, before I forget, he is up for 5 NAACP awards. So please go vote for him. Please. It's like he is kind of like one of my virtual imaginary role models, mentors. I love hearing him speak and speak his truth. He had like the power of freedom of speech. He's showing us how not to fear it. He went into that church to show the story, and a story that needs to be talked about. Because while growing up, with what I've noticed within the religious like systems, the culture of the churches, the culture of the white and black church, yeah, it's interesting. And I think another reason why I'm happy that I have a minor in cultural anthropology is because I got to kind of dig a little deeper and listen a little harder, and or at least listen in different ways. Because when I was little, no, it doesn't matter. That's what the pastor said. Listen to what the pastor said. Do as he said because he said it. He goes by the good book. Okay, well, now looking back and remembering some of the things pastor and bishop said, now I kind of know, no, that's not it. Now I have the education. I think that's another reason why a lot of church people don't want us to go to college. They don't want us to go to schooling. No. And this is another reason why they want women to have babies or get married and have babies as quickly as possible, because hopefully we won't be able to go to work. Or like my pastor said, don't worry, ladies, you can start your career later. Well, that doesn't look good on a resume. It'll be harder because of ageism. It'll be harder because like a lot of companies are already, sexist. So it's like you really want to, like, with ageism, sexism, and everything, and then with black women, racism. It's like they want to change up with DEI. They want to take away DEI, but they don't understand the isms that are lurking and leaking all within corporations, and how a lot of companies don't want us to succeed. They don't want to hire us. So there had to be laws to allow us to be able to have a chance, but they see it as we must not be of talent. We must not be smart enough or educated enough or qualified. Even though no, it's because your manager or owner and or the CEO or whatever, they don't want us in there. They don't want to see color in there. They want it as white as their church congregation. Yep. They want to feel at work as they do at church. Yes. And to have like if I found out my pastor had any position with ICE, who? And it's like I wonder, like because and it's really crazy how I'm gonna be showing more racist posts, and I have so much to download. I'm so behind, but I found another one yesterday, and it was like I think I have over 30 to 40 pictures. But it's really crazy when I see some of the racist, awful, terrible posts on Facebook, and then I see people laughing and agreeing with it. How many of them are of the white church? How many of them are religious, hardcore mega religious? It's like this country tried, like a lot of the people in the Bible Belt try to say this isn't a racist country while they are literally swimming in racism. They're embracing, loving, and appreciating racism, but a lot of them are getting the racist thoughts from their pastors, from their church leaders. But then they don't want to learn the history, because then they're going to see how, and some of them grew up in the history, so they want to make sure generation, like especially Z and A, don't know about the strange fruit that used to hang on the tree outside their church, and how they are possibly in pictures with that strange fruit because they were celebrating the death of the fruit. It's like they don't want to show the injustice and how the people, like the the hate group members, how they would meet at the church. Their meetings would be at the church because the pastor was one of the leaders. How when they were burning down houses and things like that, pastors and churchgoers were the ones doing it. So we're just repeating history. It's like now they're allowed to go into houses and drag out people of color. Some of them are now going, like some of the people, the ICE people now are going to be able to go to their grandfathers, maybe even fathers, and talk about the comparisons and laugh and joke about the humanity and the disformation of humanity that they are constructing, and how they're degrading and just tormenting people and placing fear on people based off the color of their skin. We are going back to those days. And now they want to arrest people to put people in fear. They want to put us in fear. They want us scared. They don't want us to be able to show the truth because they're too busy tearing down our history. Because what happened in Philadelphia, that's what they're going to continue doing, that so that they can like just redo and bring back those memories. Because now, if they erase it, the next generations are going to watch it be done again without knowing what to do or without knowing what did happen to give them ideas of how to solve the solution, solve the problem this time. Because history helps us. History helps us learn from the past and learn how to make sure we don't end up in that position again. And so I think that's one reason why they're trying to erase it so much, especially the slavery part. Pay attention because they keep trying to erase all of the slavery parts. And when the orange man kept saying black jobs, when the prisons are like, a lot of these times they keep wanting to give the young white men a second chance. They don't want to ruin their lives, even though some of them were playing with little girls. Yeah, they want to give them a second chance. Even with Mr. Lockakey, they want to give him a second chance, even though he did too. But yeah, some of these companies should be ashamed. Like he found a company to pay them off to get it off his records. Yeah, yeah. Some of these, but he loved his privilege though, and see that like a lot of these Caucasian men love their privilege. They know the privilege, they know the power. They're going to say that there's no racism in this country while using racism as an advantage so that they can have power, control, and authority over other people. Lockakey did that all the time. Mr. No Heart did that at times as well. So we have to pay attention to our history. We have to pay attention what's going on right now with Don Lemon. We need to speak up and speak out. We need to talk about the toxicity within the churches. We need to talk about the racism within the churches. They don't want us to. Because they will say, oh, they know, but look at the Bible. Yeah, but look what's coming out of your mouth. Look at what your actions are. Look at what your job title is outside of the church. I wonder how many of see, and this is why we need to know exactly who is working for ICE. We need to know who are in these hate groups because now they want to say Black Lives Matter is a hate group. But yeah, but they won't say that about the hate, the Proud Boys and the KKK and all of them. They won't say that about them. They won't say that about them. Why? Why? And some people are going to say, I don't care because it's not me. I don't care because it's not someone I listen to. They start where they start for a reason. And then they go for the next level and the next level. You never know what level you may be on. We can't be in fear. We cannot allow them to take away our rights. Our right to speech? No. Our freedom of speech? No. Our right for great journalism and the truth? No. I'll talk more about it later. Thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman. I am of color. and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too.